My human self presents to me many challenges that burden me. My heart center shines and calls to me. This is who I choose to be. Sometimes lessons.
Welcome to the Vibrational Alchemy Podcast. This is Penny Fisher, and we are so glad you are joining us for this week's episode. Hey, everybody. So good to see you. Can you believe it that we made it to episode 4? I am beyond honored and humbled and just thrilled to be here with you all and to be able to truly have the privilege to share this with each and every one of you. So welcome to those of you who are listening for the first time. This is the Vibrational Alchemy Podcast. I am Penny Starhart. We've been talking a lot about the cosmic matrix, which is this flow of infinite loving vibration that makes its way through the omniverse. And today I want to talk about Shine Your Light, the title of our podcast. We're going to continue our exploration of the cosmic matrix and look at ways that this infinite flow of unconditionally loving vibration can support us in increasing our own light. Our inner light is our reality. It's who we are. And the more amped up it is, the clearer and more clean it is, the easier it is for us to kind of move through life with more ease and more grace. So we're going to look at that a little. And to get us started today, I would like to share a channeled message from a beautiful and loving feminine archangel. Her name is Archangel Seraphina. And because she talks about in her message our light bodies, I want to just take a quick little detour and talk about, just do a really quick light touch on what our light bodies actually are. So we know from science that every human being has an energetic field, a magnetic field around their physical bodies, right? You may have heard these referred to as the aura or the biofield. And these light bodies provide a link between our physical human selves, our higher selves, or our divine I am presence, and source, in whatever way you experience source, right? God, creator or creatrix, the all that is, the universe, or even our own beautiful sun, right? Bring your own framework to that concept. So our light bodies are actually higher dimensional bodies of light that contain our divine blueprint as perfect beings, as aspects of source. Our light bodies are they're energy-based versions of our human consciousness, and they exist beyond the physical body. So you may have seen images of a human body surrounded by kind of like an egg of white light. You may have seen it in movies. You may have seen images, out in the world. That's the light body. And Archangel Seraphina is going to talk to us about the importance of keeping our light body charged and clear. This matters because when our light bodies are amped up, free from emotional and energetic debris, because that debris, right, when it sits out in our fields, it can actually block the flow of energy, not only in our fields, but into and through our bodies, our physical bodies. And when we've cleared that, when we're free of that, it is so much easier for us to access our sacred heart spaces. And that sacred heart space, friends, is where we hold that beautiful, bright, shining light that is the essence of who we truly are. We can access the guidance of our hearts. We can connect with guides in all of their forms. We can connect with angels and archangels and ascended masters, the hierarchy of light, our power animals, our own inner wisdom of our divine I am presence, of our soul, right? And when we can do this, these beautiful resources and allies help us remember who we are. And the more we remember who we are, the easier it is to navigate all of life's challenges with more and more ease and peace. Right. And that's the trick, right? I can't change how another person is interacting with me or how they're being in the world, nor should I. It's not, their journey is not mine. I can't change the circumstances that I find myself in, right? Again, nor should I. It could be that these experiences are helping me learn something about myself or about the world or how I can love myself more. But what I can do is I can manage the way that I respond in any of these situations. And as the lyrics to Gordon's beautiful song say, as we open our podcast each week, we can choose to be our true selves. We can choose to be the divine essence of our blueprint, right? That the cosmic matrix activates within us. And we'll talk a little bit more about that and how we can do that after Archangel Seraphina's beautiful channeled message. And real quickly before I share this, because she does mention the cosmic Christ consciousness. We've talked about this in previous episodes, but just in case you're joining us for the first time, I want to be crystal clear that this is not about religion, right? This is not about the individual known as Jesus or Christ who walked the earth. The cosmic Christ consciousness is an energetic, and if it helps you to think of it as an archetypal energy, go for it. It is an energetic that holds the blueprint, the vibration, the reality of pure, unconditional love. Okay? So just so that you know what that is, I want everybody to be on the same page with that. All right. So take a beautiful deep breath or two in and out. If you are walking or driving, stay focused on the task at hand and just let these words flow over you. What you need will be retained into your cellular memory, and you can always return to this message later. Okay? So Archangel Seraphina says the following to us. Greetings, dear children of the light and fellow light bringers. I am Archangel Seraphina, and it is with great joy that I come to you to invite you into the cosmic matrix flow to activate your light body. It is true that you exist in your human experience as a physical carbon-based body, and yet at the same time, there surrounds you an aura of light within which is held the hologram, the blueprint of your true essence. This light body is but one way in which you stay connected to your divine I am presence and to source energy. Your light body feeds you, nourishes you, anchors you, and opens you to divine guidance. While the essence of the light body is infinitely constant, the flow of energy can become impeded. So you do well to be diligent in your work to clear and energize your light body on a regular basis. Breath, meditation, sound, mantra, movement. These all act as mechanisms that remove debris and restore flow. And now we come to it. The need for unimpeded flow is greater than ever at this time of profound evolution on Earth. For it is your light the brilliant light of source that radiates from each of you, that feeds and amplifies the light needed to bring balance. Your willingness to be of service in this way has a profound effect on structures that are at play at this time, as well as on Mother Earth herself. And so we invite you to tap into the cosmic matrix flow to further increase your capacity to hold the light that is pouring forth onto your earth plane at this time, to refine the quality of the light within as it holds a higher vibrational frequency, and to amplify that light so that it can flow into your personal matrix, the matrix of the earth, and the cosmic matrix to support the shifts in consciousness that are occurring at this time. The process of ascension can be seen as nothing more than a recursive process of receiving the light of unconditional love, working with it to amplify its loving power within you so there is no room left for anything save that which is in vibrational alignment with the love of the cosmic Christ consciousness. And finally, to allow that light and that love to radiate from you with almost unimaginable power out into the world and indeed into the very omniverse itself. Calling upon me to activate your light body will assist you in this work. Please know the depth of our gratitude for your willingness to be the light, even in the face of what can feel like overwhelming darkness. Know that you are truly making a difference and having an impact as you do this work in service to the light. We are with you always, and our love flows to you in an unending and infinite stream. I am Archangel Seraphina, and it is so. I get goosebumps every time I read that. And I hear Archangel Seraphina reminding us that we need to be the light in order to share the light. And I think this brings us to a really critical point, and we all know it, we've all experienced, and that is that in our human experiences, we have within us both light and darkness. Now, we've talked about this in past episodes, how utterly crappy it can be when we are in that space of the shadow side, when we're experiencing anger, grief, judgment, fear, doubt, longing, that sense of inertia, like I can't get going, I can't get moving, I don't know what to do next. And I can only speak for myself. Those places, they suck. They really do. Our work in this lifetime, I think, is to start to merge or balance those opposing forces that exist within us, right? And I think it was last week we talked about the idea that the opposing forces are part of our human experience in that they help us understand, right? By giving us the experience of the opposite. So what I mean by that is we know love because we've experienced fear. We know light because we've sat in the darkness. We know compassion because we've been in judgment, right? And the truth of the matter is that because those heavy emotions are so unpleasant, our default setting is to push them away, right? We want to stuff them down, pretend they don't exist, take a few deep breaths and say, oh, I'm done. That's good. I released that, right? The problem is this, though, friends. When we choose to approach our heavy emotions by ignoring them, we run the risk of leaving an energetic entanglement out in our fields, out in our light bodies. And that's not a net neutral situation here. When we leave those energetic tangles in our fields, they actually accrue to them more energetic charge. So Gordon talks about, my husband talks about dust bunny, right? So the dust doesn't just sit under the bed, it gathers more and more dust to it over time. And these energetic tangles, when we don't deal with our emotions, they gather more and more charge to them, and they get bigger and bigger. And over time, those energetic tangles will actually block or impede, as Archangel Seraphina said, they will impede the flow of energy, not only in our light bodies, but also into our physical bodies, right? And this is where we can experience discomfort, dis-ease, pain. And I think it's really important to remember that, go back to high school science, right? Energy never dies. It just changes form. So if we've taken the energy from our emotions and left it as that charge, we now have the option to remember it back into what it really is and what it always was, which is simply an aspect of love, right? Our emotions are just, our darkness is just energy that has forgotten that it's light. And one of my favorite examples of this comes from a workshop that I took years ago on working with the shadow self. And in that workshop, we were in a meditation, and my guides showed me a coin. And they said, okay, look at both sides. One side was light and one side was darkness. And so they said to me, okay, take the coin and spin it. And because I was in an alternate reality, instead of slowing down and falling over, the coin actually sped up. And it sped up faster and faster and faster until I was no longer able to see each of the individual sides. And my guide said to me, okay, now look, what do you see? And I said to them, all I see is light. And they said, exactly. They said, the darkness is only the light that has lost its way, right? And it's that when we identify with that darkness, that's when we create the discomfort and the pain for ourselves. So how do we move through those tricky situations, right? How do we move through the times in our lives where we feel hopeless, or we feel abandoned and alone, or we're just terrified of what tomorrow's going to bring, or we can't, and this is something I work with all the time, we can't see a clear path forward into the life that we, not only the life we want, but the life that we know inside ourselves that we are meant to live, right? And this is going to sound crazy, but one way we do that is we disconnect. Now, I want to be clear here. We're not disconnecting so we can ignore the emotions. We're disconnecting so that we can experience the emotions from the perspective of the neutral observer, the watcher, right? So that we are not those emotions. We are watching ourselves. We talked last week about the language. We are not anger. We are having anger. We are not doubt. We are having doubt. And when we do that, then we can actually get into dialogue with those emotions and say, oh, anger, here you are again. Thanks so much for showing up. What are you here to teach me? And when we do that, it becomes, at least for me, less scary to feel those emotions. And I'll be honest, sometimes those emotions have brought me literally to my knees. But when I don't identify with it, when I hold space for it, I can learn from it, and I can help or allow that heavy emotion to shift, to transform, to remember that it's simply an aspect of love. And at least for me, this is where the cosmic matrix becomes an incredibly powerful ally. So when we tap into the power of the cosmic matrix, we can create a space. We can create what I call this container of compassion. We call the light into our hearts, and we literally create this beautiful vessel made of and infused with the light of the cosmic matrix. Now, you'll experience this in whatever way works for you. You may fill your heart chamber. You may see it created as a cauldron. You have your own experience. It'll be perfect, right? And then we get brave, right? We put on our big people pants and we call up that emotion. We call up the emotion of self-judgment. We call up the emotion of frustration. We call up the emotion of grief. And we simply let it rest in the container. You don't do anything with it. You just let it rest there. And you watch it. And you breathe. And then you breathe some more, and you breathe some more. And I promise you that eventually the charge on that emotion will change. It will shift. It'll discharge its electricity, and it will no longer trigger contraction in you. Now, here's the thing, my friends. It does not, well, it might happen quickly, or it might happen over many days of sitting and breathing and meditating. It might happen over a month or months or a year. I don't know. Beautiful Tibetan monk. Many of you may have heard of Thich Nhat Hanh. He has transitioned recently. And I remember hearing him talk one time. I don't remember where it was, so I'm paraphrasing mightily. But he talked about this experience, and he said something like the following. He said, when I am experiencing anger, I will sit. And he's talking about sitting in meditation. He said, breathing in, I am experiencing anger. I am angry. Breathing out, I am angry. Breathing in, I am still angry. Breathing out, I am angrier still. And he said, this can go on. This can go on for days or weeks or months. So be patient, because I'm telling you, it does change. And when we connect with the light of the cosmic matrix and invite it into our heart spaces in this way, we are giving ourselves a real gift. We are ensuring that those emotions that have not been addressed don't leave those icky tangles in our light body fields. And when we've already left those out in our fields, we do the same thing. We call up the memory. We create the container of compassion. We call up the memory of those emotions, and we invite those emotions, those memories, those body feelings into that judgment-free zone within our hearts. We hold those emotions. We breathe. We trust, and we know beyond the shadow of a doubt that that charge is going to be released. And here's the amazing thing. When the charge on those emotions are released, we are released too. We are released from pain and fear. We're released from anger and guilt, from judgment, from all of those times where we feel fractured, where we feel broken, right? We feel unloved, or like we're not good enough, or like we're less than. And those are real. Like those are legit, real experiences. As we work with this light of the cosmic matrix, we are able to become whole and complete, because we are filling ourselves with the unbelievable, glorious light of Source. And we're able to put ourselves back together. Right? Stay with me, because this sounds awful, but when we feel fractured and broken, we've been dismembered, right? We've been taken apart. And when we fill ourselves with the light of the cosmic matrix, we can be remembered, put back together. We remember who we truly are. And when we come from this space, it is so much easier to navigate the, I'm air quoting, stuff that is part of our day-to-day lives. Look, the stuff doesn't stop. It keeps coming. It's part of the human experience. But when we manage it skillfully, the pain and the discomfort only lasts for a short period of time. And I got to be honest, friends, this, at least for me, this is really hard work, but it's so worth it. And I promise you, it gets easier. The more we keep our light bodies clean and clear, the easier it is to step into that space. It becomes our default setting. And being clean and clear requires choices. Who do we choose to be? Who are we going to spend our time with? What are we going to watch? What are we going to listen to? And at least, listen, I can only speak for myself, but my biggest challenge, especially now, is releasing judgment, right? There's so much that I'm surrounded with that is not in alignment with how I see the world. And I'm working really hard to be in that container of compassion and just release judgment. And next week, we're going to talk more about judgment and how we can work with it. So I invite you now, my friends, minute by minute, thought by thought, word by word, continue to ask yourself, who do I choose to be? Enter in to your sacred heart chamber and connect with the flow of the cosmic matrix. Allow yourself to be filled with the vibration that is truly a perfect match for who you are. Each one of you, every one of you, are a divine and perfect being of love and light. I guarantee that that is how Source sees you. And it is my most sincere wish that you see yourself in that same way, as perfect, divine, and filled with love and light. I am so grateful to each of you for joining me. I am Penny Starhart. This has been the Vibrational Alchemy Podcast, and I am sending you all so much love. We'll see you next week.
This is who I choose to be. This is who I choose to be.